Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of Money Means Business. Today it was a very busy day. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had a very busy schedule as he starting early in the morning went to Bani Suef, an inspection tour and a visit to Suts al-Umara, one of the villages of Bani Suef which enjoyed the presidential initiative of decent life or Hayat Karima. The president inaugurated a number of national and developmental projects and he held talks and dialogues with the citizens there. Even he accepted the invitation of one of the Egyptian citizens who were there to join her at lunch in her own house. Well, it was that easy to find that simple to meet with the president and to exchange dialogues with him, to speak about everything, to mention the difficulties, the hardships. Even the president had in his speech addressed all these difficulties and hardships, and he saluted the Egyptian people for being able to shoulder this burden. And he said it that frank: I am here to say that I am one of you and I know in detail what you have been through and what's going on right now. And in his address too, he announced a series of measures to alleviate the financial strains on the Egyptian people. And here I mean Egyptian people in all sectors, whether they are the employees in the public or business sectors, whether the pensioners, you name it. Let's have a quick look at the most important series of measures announced by the president today, and we are going to turn back to speak in more details about all what was going on in Bani Suef today with the presence of the head of state. Welcome back, and to shed more light on the important measures announced by the president today, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Mr. Sahar El-Damati, our economic and financial expert. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
A very good evening, Mrs. Sahar, and let's have a quick look at the most important series of measures announced today by the President to alleviate the financial strains on the citizens. According to the new decision, the minimum wage will be raised to £4,000 instead of £3,500. Also, the increase of exceptional cost of living allowance to £600 instead of £300 for all employees. Deciding also to raise the annual income tax exemption threshold by 25%. All these measures in addition to other measures which are going to take place by the Agricultural Bank for the small farmers, you name it. How do you see, first, the timing, second, the number of measures, because it's directed to, I think, all the society, all sects, not only to a specific category?
I think the measures announced today were quite important because inflation reached a very high level in Egypt, last of which was in the 40%, 40.4% in August. So that's quite a high level of inflation, hence the prices have increased substantially. And I believe this is not the first time that the President takes such a measure. I remember very well during COVID-19, he made similar raises, in addition to maybe over the last 2 years of the Ukrainian-Russian war. Also, there has been a number of announcements in order to enable the low-income levels in the society to be able to survive with such high level of prices that is due to the inflation. Don't forget, when it comes to the farmers, is that because of the inflation is high, then one of the measures to curb inflation is using interest rate. Mm-hmm. And accordingly, with the increase in interest rate, this affects the debt service of the loans. And from this perspective, the number of people within the agricultural sector suffer from the highest debt service level and are unable to pay. So he has given them like a breath of fresh air in order to ease the pressure a little bit. So I think all of these measures were quite good, right on time, very important, especially for the low-income brackets.
Amen to that. And to also add to what took place today, the inauguration of a number of development projects under the umbrella of Decent Life Initiative. Decent Life Initiative, which is considered even globally as one of the most important initiatives to, let's say, raise the standard of living to millions of people. And it started already 3 years ago, and it's going to continue in this track. How do you see this also?
I love the initiative of actually. I'm sorry.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
I'm with you. Yes. This initiative actually is quite fantastic. I mean, it's one of the best initiatives that ever happened in Egypt because actually by raising the number of people who are going to decent life, who are going to benefit from it, is very important. I mean, you're offering them electricity, sewerage, housing, schools, hospitals, good water. For all of this, when it comes to decent life, I think it's one of the best initiatives we've ever had in Egypt, covering 4,500 villages. It's absolutely fantastic.
Amen to that. And also, to continue with what you have just mentioned, Mrs. Sahar, communications, education, gas station, electricity, but also the digital or electronic services complexes or these centers. This is to save the time of the citizens, to save the effort, and to make sure that all these services are already introduced according to the latest standards and the highest standards to our citizens in even remote areas in Upper Egypt. I mean, there's no difference between a city and a village. A citizen is a citizen, an Egyptian is an Egyptian, and he or she, of course, really deserves to receive this high standard service wherever he or she is. If you want to elaborate on that too.
I agree with you. I mean, the point is, in our country, we have approximately almost 40-45% within the poverty level. So all of these deserve a decent life. And hence, this initiative, plus what you've just mentioned, is very important. Add to this is, unfortunately, very unfortunately, since COVID-19 and the Ukrainian-Russian war and the impact it left on everybody in the world, including Egypt, but Egypt specifically, low-income bracket population, has been highly hit in terms of not only of high inflation, high interest rates, the currency is devaluating, leading to more inflation and to more difficult measures, increasing difficulty of the level of currency needed, hence affecting production, affecting unemployment, affecting GDP. So all of this is adding to the problem the Egyptians are facing, especially the low-income bracket people. And from this perspective, I believe the measures taken were just right in place.
In his speech, and also even in his conversation with the people, the president said he really knew well what's going on the ground. He is not that far from all of us, from the Egyptians who are really suffering, and he even saluted the Egyptian citizen for being able to bear or to shoulder this burden. Being that transparent and taking into consideration that this is the head of a state saying that to the people publicly, I think this is our way to New Egypt, to the new republic, to Egypt 2030. To confess that there is a problem is a very first step to solve this problem. And to have this promise that working together is going to end in a very positive result, and in the near future, not in the far one, this is also another step on the right track. If you want to also elaborate on this too, or on this message in specific which was delivered by the president to the people today.
The message was very, very respectful, very frank, honest, speaking with the people with full honesty, and also appreciating the level of burden they are currently living in. However, also telling them, listen, we're doing our best and we'll keep on doing our best. And this is not going to endure for long. We have sustained so far a very tough period, and he has given them the hope that we are there, we're doing the best we can, and we will continue to do that, and hopefully this will end soon, or sooner rather than soon. So it was a very respectable speech, and very honest.
Yes, Mrs. Sahar El-Damati, our financial and economic expert, thank you very much for your input and have a very good night. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.
في السباق للعالمية الكل بيجري عشان يوصل للهدف، للمستقبل، وعشان توصل وتنجح ويسمع العالم صوتك ويشاور عليك ويبقى اسمك رقم واحد وسط أكبر الأسماء في العالم، كان لازم نجري، نشتغل نفكر ازاي نبدع، ازاي نتميز، وهدفنا واضح قدام عينينا، اننا في السباق مش بس نوصل لكن نسبق بخطوة. 4000 مهندس وعامل وفني من خيرة البنائين المصريين واللي أنشأوا محور تحيا مصر في مرحلته الأولى والثانية لربط الطريق الدائري بالطريق الدائري الإقليمي، بدأوا العمل في المرحلة الثانية بإنشاء كوبري تحيا مصر الملجم. وكان هدفهم من أول يوم مش إنشاء مجرد كوبري، لكن واحد من المعالم المصرية يوصلوا بيه للعالمية. وعشان يحققوا هدفهم اجتهدوا، أبدعوا، وفكروا ازاي يتميزوا في كل تفاصيله. والنهارده نجحوا بمجهودهم والتزامهم وإرادتهم إنهم يحققوا المستحيل ويقدموا أعرض كوبري ملجم في العالم، ويدخلوا بيه للعالمية ويتسجل إبداعهم في موسوعة جينيس للأرقام القياسية. يمتد جسم الكوبري الرئيسي بطول 5.6 كيلومترات، بالإضافة ل 10 كيلومترات تشكل إجمالي أطوال 18 من المطالع والمنازل. يتميز ب6 حارات مرورية في كل اتجاه بطول 540 متر وعرض 67.3 متر، ويحتوي على أكبر فتحة ملاحية على النيل بعرض 300 متر. استخدم في إنشائه ما يزيد عن 1,000,000 متر مكعب من الخرسانة وأكثر من 290 ألف طن من الحديد. وبعد تجريبه طبقا للمواصفات العالمية تأكدت قدرته على تحمل أوزان تصل إلى 120 طن. كوبري تحيا مصر الملجم مش بس إنجاز عالمي، لكنه بيتميز بجماله وتفاصيله والإبداع اللي فيه، وده لأنه فيه أول ممشى زجاجي في الشرق الأوسط على جانبي الكوبري الملجم وفوق أجمل أنهار العالم نهر النيل. طول ما عينينا على العالمية هنفضل نجري، هدفنا نوصل ببلدنا لمكانتها الأولى وسط العالم. هنا كوبري تحيا مصر الملجم، بداية الطريق للعالمية.
Welcome back, and we are very much delighted to have with us live in the studio engineer Hossam Imam, our sustainable development expert, who is going also to discuss with us a number of economic files, the visit of the president today to Bani Suef and in specific to Suds Al Umara village, and also to discuss another important file, which is sustainable development in the field of green hydrogen, of renewable energy, and how Egypt is to be considered one of the regional hubs when it comes to renewable energy, and to consider also green hydrogen as the fuel of the future. Thank you very much for being with us, Engineer Hossam.
Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here with you all and with your audience.
And let's start immediately. We do have a lot to speak about, and to start with the visit of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Bani Suef today and to Suds Al Umara. Of course, it's not the first time of the president to visit Upper Egypt, but I'm not shy to say that, but Upper Egypt was neglected for such a period of time. And now the case is totally different. If you go to El Minya, to Bani Suef, to Sohag, you would find a completely other image of life there. Today, it was another side of the coin. How do you see the implemented projects on the ground under the umbrella of Decent Life initiative, and to what extent they are reflecting this important word, sustainability?
Actually, it is very important to have the social impact and have the social projects to be taking place in these areas, and sustainability, one of the main elements of it, the social impact and how we can develop the rural areas and the regional areas as Upper Egypt. So this is one of the main topics that we can talk about, and we can address how it is important to implement such projects there.
There are two important things here. First, that those national projects are affecting the daily life of the citizen, meaning drinking water, electricity, the even services introduced in notary offices, digitalization, to save the time and effort of the citizen, health, education, you name it. How do you see the impact of these projects on the daily life? I mean, because of this, they are tangible on the ground and felt by the simple Egyptian citizen.
Yeah, I think this is very important for each person in Egypt to have the education that he deserves, the life he deserves, and we have here the population of Egypt. We have so many people in the Upper Egypt, and we are very keen to support all these people in these areas. They are all Egyptians, so we need to develop more, and we need to work more in these areas to develop the daily life of people. When it starts from education, health, and every topic that you said, this is very important to have more livable life in these areas.
Another message which was sent by the president today in his speech, it was when he said, "Thank you for the volunteers of Decent Life Initiative." Now I think the culture of volunteering is there, and particularly among the youth. If you want to elaborate on that, or if you touched that on the ground yourself.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the volunteering work just made me, I said it before, so much time. The volunteering work giving you the opportunity to explore yourself more, explore different communities, explore different expertise that you can gain from this work, and it gives you this opportunity to give the community.
You yourself was volunteering?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Great. I'd like to know the difference in your character, because now you are one of the examples we have. In your character or on your way of thinking after being involved into volunteering, because I think, in my humble opinion, that when you do have this direct contact with the people, this is forming your way of thinking, your visions regarding many things, even your character as one of our youth, or let's say the new entrepreneurs or startups.
Yeah, actually, to engage with different communities, it makes your mind more bigger. You can see different ideas out there. You can there's a lot of needs and a lot of business opportunities when you engage with different communities. You can come up with ideas that you didn't have it before by engaging with different people, with different cultures, with different communities, and also you can gain more experience in your life. You can gain more experience even in soft skills, even. You can build more network. You will have like more allies in different ways. Actually, my work now is I'm working now with my colleague I met in a volunteering work, and this is my network that I have now from volunteering work. So this is what I have my life now.
This is exactly what I wanted to focus on, because today, in the speech of the president, or in many other occasions, when the president addressed the nation, he is really all the time focusing on the role of the youth and how they should shoulder the responsibility of tomorrow. And building in the Egyptian character, it's our biggest investment.
Sure.
And if you want to also elaborate on that, and to what extent this is the core of the new Republic, Egypt 2030?
Sure, we have a very big population when it comes to youth. The youth are the power of any community. The youth, they are the present and future. If you invest in youth, you are investing in future, and you are investing in present as well. Youth, they are the power of everything. We have here all people who are working, they are youth, people who are in development, people who are in creations, innovation, they are all youth. So if you're investing in future, you should invest in youth and in this community for sure.
Amen to that. And to discuss another file, let's have a very small briefing or a reminder of what took place today. A large number of projects being implemented in Bani Suwaif took place in cities of Biba and Nasser, a total of 66 villages, 12 local units with a total investment of 12 billion Egyptian pounds. And as for the projects implemented in the fields of electricity, gas stations, communications, education, agriculture complexes in Suts al-Umara village, the implementation rates reached 100%. And this is what we were celebrating today with the visit of the president to this village. Now, if you permit me, we are going to go to the first forum of Egypt, which took place only a few days ago, and it discussed the environment investment and how it is a real, it's not a luxury anymore, it's a must, and a lot of investment opportunities were discussed, and how Egypt can be, as I said, a hub for renewable energy and particularly for green hydrogen. If please, I want to know about this important event.
Yeah, actually, last year we had the COP27 here in Egypt, and it was a major event, a very big event that all stakeholders from all over the world, from civil society, member states, United Nations, media, private sector, and all people who are actors in this area. We were there. We are investing in this area. We are, as we see, we had Libya from just the couple of days. We had the flood there, and all these are coming from the climate change and the environmental crisis that we are living now.
As far as I know, that the UN was represented and Switzerland was represented. Tell me more about the participants. Who were the sides or the stakeholders?
The stakeholders, they were the civil society, private sector, and development partners. We have here the banks, we have embassies as the Switzerland there, and United Nations for sure, with the UNIDO, United Nations for Industrial Development. Those are partners are very important to work together to develop more in green projects in Egypt. Egypt's now trying to be the hub for the green hydrogen here in Egypt, as we have like...
it's not an easy job. Let's confess that in the beginning. But how to attract investors to invest in this field in specific? And already the very initial steps were taken? And if yes, what's our homework?
Actually, as Dr. Madbouli said,
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli,
there was very important things that we should work on. The first one is the policies that we have. So we have to ease more for businesses and for investors to come to Egypt with policies that can support them to invest in this area, to remove any obstacle that can be there for having these investments here in Egypt, and to have a bigger hub and bigger place to support investors and to support startups to innovate and to collaborate each other with this digital website that and forum that initiated and created to matchmaking between the community and businesses, and have business cases and have visibility studies are ready for implementation in green projects.
And above all, if you permit me to think out of the box, to have this brainstorming, roundtable discussions to come out with innovative ideas and, of course, practical ideas to be implemented on the ground. The forum itself did give a hand in that, or what were your demands, your needs? The important things which should be met by the state to make sure that your story is a story of success. It's not only ink on paper.
Yeah, sure. Actually, roundtables and discussion is very important to bring more ideas, to bring ideas that can be implemented on a real life, to listen more from different perspectives. We have here private sector, we have the civil society, we have here the people from the government as well. So if they are all together, working together to have innovative ideas, thinking out of the box, as you said, it will be more opportunities for people in Egypt and for...
Let me put my question in other words. For example, do you have some demands to ask or some needs from the Higher Council of Investment? More exemption of taxes, taking into consideration that there is unfortunately sometimes bureaucracy is there, to have this golden license to be given to new entrepreneurs. Let me know some very limited or very limited points which you really said that if this is going to be met, it's going to have a direct impact, a positive impact on this business. If this new market is open, then I'm going to be more free to move from here and there. Let me know.
I think the first main point that we are talking about here should be capacity building for people, for investors, for startups, and for community as well. So when giving people information and knowledge and awareness about how we can invest and how we can run a business in such a projects, it will be very important to start from this one, starting from project management, starting from laws, starting from policies that we have. So this will be a very important one. Also encouraging partnerships between different stakeholders and create hubs for innovation, create hubs for such as we have, we worked with the Ministry of Youth and Sports before.
Great.
And we have these kind of hubs between youth and youth centers in different governorates, so they can have the opportunity, the place, and we can work more on policies. But I think knowledge is a very important part here, and all come after
coordination,
that.
collaboration, harmony.
Yeah, sure.
Because to have this kind of positive connections and contacts, if I can put it this way, among different state bodies, in addition to the NGOs and the private sector, I think this is a guarantee that your story is going to be a successful one. And let me quote, if you permit me, Dr. Yasmin Fuad, Her Excellency Minister of Environment, when she said, many studies are going to be mentioned and analyzed in addition to models for investment opportunities, promising ones on different levels and tackling different sectors. How did it go? I mean, these opportunities, practical on the ground, can be easily implemented?
It is not easy, but it can be done. Actually, a year ago, we had this law for the Waste Management Council that initiated by the Ministry of Environment. It is engaging the civil society, community, private sector, and the state and people in governorates and people who are in cities who are working on that. This law allowed us to work on the waste management problem as in a harmony, as you said, in a collaboration way that can every party can engage in a different way with a good impact and in a positive way.
Also, she said that we are going to build on the results of this forum. I mean, after this forum, we are going to have sessions and we are going to launch many activities and initiatives to raise the awareness of the importance of a green economy and green hydrogen as the fuel of the future among the youth in specific. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, the raising awareness and capacity building of youth is very important. When it comes to this, we have to talk about green skills. This is to work in these fields. You have to learn more about this green skills, how we can link between the environments and social impact to every work. If you are a doctor, if you have an engineer, if you are like any other job, you have to gain this green skills. We are considered and we have the indices which is submitted by
Is this considered under the corporate social responsibility?
Not this. This is a very important one, but I mean as a country,
Yeah.
we had national determinate contributions that submitted at the COP, and we have here this year we have the COP in UAE. There is called stock
In less
take.
than 2 months from now.
Yeah, it will be in December.
In December or November? December? Okay.
This year will be in December.
December?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the last day of November and December. So we have Egypt. We submitted the NDC that we obligated to work on the green investment as Egypt. And it will be a year of reporting what we did. And we have here in our global
you know what's the problem here, Engineer Hossam? That still the moment the layman in the street, the simple man in the street, cannot have this kind of connection between green hydrogen or renewable green energy and food security and energy crisis. I mean, to raise the awareness that those three things cannot be separated at all, and if we do have food and energy crises, they are totally connected to renewable energy. True?
Yeah, sure. Actually, we faced this year the heat waves that we have here in Egypt, and we have these power cuts in different places and different areas, and how it is affects the daily life. And it is not just an hour of cutting the electricity. We are talking about economy. We are talking about health. We are talking about everything in our life. When we see other countries' crisis, it's all because of climate change. So if we don't act now for this, it will be a crisis here.
If we here means the whole world.
Sure.
It's a humanity.
Yeah, sure. It's all community. It's all we all part of this. We will. I mean, the crisis not choose anyone to be affected by, but it's for everyone. So. And we are here in Egypt. Actually, we are not the polluters, by the way. We are the
Africa is not the polluter.
Sure. We
Africa
are
at
the
large.
most affected continent by the climate change, and we have to work to save our lives. It is not just big words, but yes, to save our lives. In Libya, we have Egyptians were there, and this is very close to us, and we should work positively. As we see the bad side, we should see the good side. We have here an opportunity to work and to don't have like these things in Egypt.
Again, and not to lose the loved ones,
Sure.
the thousands of people who unfortunately lost their lives because of this. Sir, I do have a lot of other questions, but unfortunately we're running out of time. I'm going to leave you, sir, with a promise to see you again in more episodes of our program, Money Means Business.
Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here. And
And I really enjoyed our discussion.
Thank you.
We were very much delighted to have with us live here in the studio Engineer Hossam Imam, our expert in sustainable development. Now we are going to say goodbye, but before that we are going to know more about some of the economic files we have, and also of the President's visit to Bani Suef today. Till we meet again same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. With all my love, this was Nermeen Abdurrahman.